Hello, and welcome to this special Christmas episode of Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on episode 8 of Chobits. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. Alright, so last we left off, things became rather serious. Through a series of misunderstandings, she got a shady job, and now things are going poorly. We have yet to see what's really actually gone on, but it seems like she's violated her programming to a degree, and as a result of that, between that and her custom-made nature, like, something's happening and it probably isn't good. I mean, to release a blinding light like that, like, that's a big power expenditure for one thing. So, like, I feel like the guy is probably blind. But, oh wow. Okay, so she's, like, effectively destroyed the room. Probably not out of malice, but you never do know. Oh wow. So, it's interesting that she's sort of, like, taken to, almost flying like that. Like, at least she's seen fit to, sort of render herself more modest, but, I'd say this other behavior is also fairly distressing, considering she hasn't displayed any of these abilities before, and, like, she certainly didn't seem to be quite in her right mind either, with what were almost like hallucinations of presumably some deeply ingrained programming. Yeah, it seems like she's getting all the wrong attention here. It's probably not good to make a spectacle of yourself in this manner, especially when she doesn't exactly seem to be cognizant of her surroundings. And, you know, it really doesn't seem like she's in a great part of town either. You know, this is like the red light district. And, like, I don't think it's likely something bad would happen, but, you know, it doesn't do to risk it. Interestingly, she seems to be most captivating to other Persicams, which, I mean, it doesn't bode well considering that she was able to effectively just, you know, blue screen them by interfacing, and it seems like she's doing this wirelessly now. I mean, it's almost like she's acting like an EMP in a weird sort of way, like she's disturbing the video. Oh. Yeah, like even watching like a video replay, the specialist's, you know, custom built Persicam got blue screened. Like, man. You know, if I didn't know better, I would assume that she was almost like, a weapon or something like that, like some sort of a covert weapon, like some sort of like invader who just sort of like goes in, disguises itself, and just, you know, knocks out communications. Ooh. Yeah, so all the persicams seem to be like, Oh, never mind. I was gonna say it seems like they're all gathering in one place, but no, rather they're just sort of like, seizing up. And the police are saying like, hey, guys, knock it off. But like, that's not their doing. And, you know, if they become like rigid and, you know, unmoving when they power down, like, that's gonna be a hard thing to move. Wow. So Chi seems to have just, by her mere presence, bricked any and all computers. So it's not like a true EMP in that, you know, that sort of thing would destroy all electronic devices. But it makes me wonder if she's some sort of like cyber weapon. Like, I don't even know what to compare it to. It is very interesting, and, you know, I guess this does open a few more questions, like, well, who did make Chi, and to what end was she made? Because, if this whole thing wasn't intentional, she seems to be, rather dangerous. You know, it's not a good thing to basically destroy computers through your mere presence. I find it a little interesting that Hideki's just sort of like, oh, yep, that's Chi, despite her never having displayed such abilities before, you know, seemingly like flying almost, just like jumping, landing on little telephone poles and things like that. I mean, I guess he would recognize her anywhere, I suppose. It is also remarkable that she's landing on light fixtures and not breaking them too, especially considering how heavy she seemed to be when Hideki first fished her out of the trash. Although I guess that's something else, you know, one wonders if perhaps she was dumped in the trash because she does this. You know, maybe not willingly. I don't think she would do it willingly, but, man. So at least she seems to have snapped out of things a little bit. I guess that's something, you know, when she's sort of like cognizant and aware and not acting like she was, then this whole thing goes away. Man. Truly, that is a bizarre thing to have happen. You know, I don't want to be pessimistic about the direction the story is going to take, but I feel like if the authorities learn about what has happened here, they would almost certainly want to seize Chi and, you know, worst case scenario, have her destroyed. And, man, I would not like the story to progress to that sort of a direction. That would be horrible. Ooh, so yeah, I guess Hideki's got another problem. Like, he's gonna have to carry her, and, you know, he's like way out far from home. Like, man. I mean, despite having like little money, it's like, yeah, I guess he has to shell out for a taxi. And you know, she didn't even get paid. That's probably the worst part about this whole ordeal. Well, that's not true. Yeah. I don't know. Like, this whole thing was certainly not good, and I would hope Hideki has learned a lesson here in that, like, you have to be, like, real stringent with what you tell Chi to do. Ooh. It's like, yeah, boy, that didn't feel like a dream. It should feel like a dream, shouldn't it? Something so bizarre as that, but, unfortunately, it was real. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. You know, is Chi actually sleeping or mimicking sleep? You know, has she learned so much to do that, or is he gonna have to reboot her? And if he does that, like, is something weird and bizarre gonna happen again? Because I feel like the way the internal programming was talking, it seems like him rebooting her is sanctioned, other people not so much. But it seems like she really was just sleeping. Which, that's sort of very bizarre in and of itself. Now, I guess kind of like with the other episode where she ran out of power, I was wondering if maybe she would have suffered some sort of like memory damage, but it doesn't seem to be the case. That is kind of gratifying, although it would be interesting if, you know, she had some sort of like memory leakage problem. So Mr. Persicom expert here, I wonder what he suspects is going on, because I feel like he might have a bit more of a grasp than he's willing to let on. Well, I guess I take that back. You know, he doesn't really seem to have much of an idea, but I feel like if anybody was in a good position to sort of figure it out, it would be him. So it's interesting that his Persicom heard a voice, which, I don't know, like, it indicates to me that it was sort of like proximity related. So that seems to me that his manor is sort of nearby where Chi was for his Persicom to be affected. Yeah, that is very bizarre. Ooh. So, Hideki's, he's taking the approach of scolding her. I'm not sure I agree with this, necessarily. Like, I mean, she only did what she thought was right, I guess. Yeah, I guess this is one of those unfortunate things where Chi hasn't yet learned nuance or how to spot lies and things like that. Or not even necessarily lies, but like half-truths and things like that. I mean, yeah, like, unfortunately, like, you don't want to scold her over something like this too much. I think the important thing is that everything worked out. And that, you know, maybe you should just, like, learn a little bit more before you try and get a job. Or perhaps, you know, Hideki could, like, try and find her a job. So, I think there's something there that Chi's first impulse is like, I don't want Hideki to hate me. Which is understandable, but that's also kind of sad, you know? I feel like there's something there with that she would be so worried about something like that that's her first impulse, rather than, I don't want Hideki to be mad at me, or sad, or something like that. I'm wondering if that's sort of like a remnant of whatever she did or was before. Oh, Hideki, you're talking out loud again. The teacher's gonna pick on you, dude. He hasn't learned his lesson. Although, I wonder... You know, given, like, Chi's specifications, I wonder if she might be suited for, like, manual labor. I almost hate to say it, but, like... I mean, surely she could be able to, like, carry things around, right? Yeah. I mean, I guess the way he's complaining about it... Like, surely Chi could work alongside him, right? Ooh. Okay. So, I thought for certain he was going to ask Yumi if she could work there with them, and she would be sort of like upset about it, but he's got her a job at a bakery instead. So I guess a bakery is probably a good place, but ooh. So once again, Yumi seems like a little upset, you know. Yeah, I feel like we're gonna hear a bit more about that eventually. There's something going on. But to have Chi work at a bakery, like, I guess she could, like, knead dough and stuff or work as a greeter, but I feel like anything much beyond that, you know, maybe not. You know, I don't think she would do too well, like, decorating pastries or doing anything else that requires, like, fine motor control. At least they seem to have her working with her strengths here, being a greeter, you know. So it's interesting that people are seemingly asking about whether or not she's a Persica. Like, it should be obvious, right? Like, she's not so utterly human-like that you could be confused. Like, she's definitely sort of robotic in nature, and, you know, she has the giveaway ears and all that. I don't know. Maybe we're meant to believe that she is becoming more and more human. It certainly is true, but I don't think it's at a point yet where she's indistinguishable from a human. Man, you know, it's unfortunate that the guy at the bakery has to explain her what finishing up is at work. It's like, no, work is done for the day. You're not being fired. Oh man, she also has to ask if pay is money, you know, if that's the same thing. Ooh. The guy's saying she can buy things with money. I feel like sanctioning Chi to buy things is probably not good. You know, at least, oh boy, I thought she was going to smack her head on the counter. That was a swift bow right nearby. Whoa, buddy. I lost my train of thought here. Oh yeah, the manager just sanctioning her to buy things. Like, at least Hideki's not making that mistake. But I feel like she's quickly going to squander her paycheck. And, you know, unfortunately, Hideki's going to have to tell her, it's like, no, you don't spend all your money right away. Like, you spend it on some stuff now, some stuff later, you save some for a rainy day. Ooh. So she's definitely thinking back to that, which is, that's interesting. I think this is like the first instance we've seen of her, like, remembering something and thinking about it. I guess it's also telling that she's thinking about Hideki, you know, praising her and something like that. Wow, so it seems like she really has hit the jackpot, where, like, she's being hired as a temp for the 5th anniversary, but, like, the manager wants to hire her back on afterwards, too. Like, you know, this is the sort of thing I thought would have happened in the previous episode. You know, she got a job from, like, a kind-hearted person, and, you know, despite all her misunderstandings and lack of social grace, things end up, you know, going well. Yeah. Unfortunately, this isn't a lesson she's learned yet, that you can't just hug everyone willy-nilly. And I guess that answer, like, you only hug people you really like. You know, she's sort of like, ooh. I figured she was going to think about Hideki, but, it's that book again. Man, I really don't like how that book keeps cropping up. Now, I guess it's a really good thing that Hideki has decided to chaperone her back, lest she cause more trouble. It's also interesting that she's so excited and happy, it's definitely nice. It's kind of unusual for her, but it's certainly a nice change of pace that she's had such a good day. Man, I feel like maybe Hideki should temper her expectations a little bit lest she become a workaholic. That there is such a thing as working too much. And I guess there's also the question of the paycheck, too. I'm wondering, was she paid like an actual wage or what? Because, I feel like you could definitely skimp on paying a persicom, but the baker at the very least seemed to be a sort of, decent, honest person who wouldn't do that. Ah, Hideki. What a good guy. This is your money, you earned it, don't spend it on me, I'm not gonna take it, it's yours. This is probably a good opportunity to teach her about the value of money, too. So I feel like, just telling Chi to buy what she wants, that's interesting, because I feel like she doesn't really know what she wants yet. Man. It's interesting that she's seemingly learned how to avoid questions, too, because she just, says, hey, can I give you a hug? And when queried as to why, she doesn't really give an answer. So, it's an interesting little development there. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. Merry Christmas, Space Cowboy.